Hi, welcome. If I did a show where we analyze and solve pair kerfuffles from the MMA world, Knots Beyond.
So I don't get to do the 7 wins across the Gobi Desert. You solved your kerfuffle.
Man, I'm your host, Lexiol, and joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com, and author of Fight Everything You Ever Want to Know About Ass Kicking. We're afraid you'd get your ass kicked for asking. Collectively,
Sir.
MMA Pancholes.
We need to come up with like an exultant cry after you say MMA Pancholes, and then we go, oh, lame, but that's too lame. So we need to come up with something better.
So on the nose, man. So speaking of on the nose,
Yes.
Eugene, your UFC.
Eh.
Conor McGregor appeared in a Bellator cage live and in public, if you will, last Friday night, giving the CEO Scott Coker's clever matchmaking with Conor's SBG team. Do you care? And if so, what can you do to stop it?
Yes and nothing. Next. I mean, you can't look. We know some people very close to us who have come under inordinate amounts of pressure because of cross collateralization.
Yep.
And I have to say, if you think the Baldwin is sitting somewhere happy about the PR bounce that McNuggets has gifted to Scott Coker, you're exactly 100% fucking wrong. But you know what you do to a guy who's got $135 million in the bank? Nothing, man. You can't. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, all you got to
tread lightly.
At this point now, ownership stake is what he's asking for, and you give it to him, and then he's got a vested interest in not doing stupid shit. Then you got something, maybe. But until then, man, realize that, this is like the eternal sea, like the valley of Armageddon, where the horse must hold his head up high because it's filled with blood. I'm sorry, I went crazy there. I've been hanging out with Jehovah's Witnesses.
Who's converting who?
Yeah, exactly. So you either give the guy something so he's got a dog in this hunt, or fuck off because you got nothing.
What about you, Nate?
Yeah, if he has an ownership stake, they could say, "Hey, dude, you're costing yourself money." Otherwise, they can't control him. He's beyond their control. What you gonna do? Nothing. So, dude's out of control. Dude is officially off the chain. That is this is what happens when you let an Irishman off the chain.
What I'm saying is, how can we take advantage? I think we would like to have an Asia versus Ireland card.
well, the thing is, you are lucky he didn't have that big cardboard cutout of his head as he jumped over the fence and shoved an official and wrestled his friend on the floor and stomped on some heads and gave people a finger. I mean, he could have been dancing the whole time with that big cutout head that he had in Ibiza. He didn't. And it's funny you should mention nose.
Does the nose know?
Well, everybody says he was over enthusiastic.
Having too much fun, as Rick James used to say.
Rick James is a good pick on that one. He just seemed rather animated to me,
And we don't mean explosive. I mean animated.
Animated, like Cuba Gooding.
He's high on life. He's high off of the $135 million, man.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, what's the most dangerous thing, and the Baldwin has talked about this before. He said, a guy gets a little notoriety, is on TV. He goes, the slimiest slime comes crawling out from under rocks to attach itself to it. And that's notoriety. Add notoriety in cash. And if I'm sitting somewhere, man, you know what I see? I see a mark-ass buster. Some guy who's he's pretty savvy. Guys who are savvy are not dancing around with full-size cardboard cutouts of their heads. They're not. Oh, he's surrounding himself with savvy guys. Oh, really? Oh, really? So did Leonard Cohen, and look what happened to him.
What, he lived to be 90 and enjoyed a wonderful life and
You,
artistic fulfillment?
Lord, hallelujah.
you think he wanted to tour? Been an 89-year-old guy touring? He
Oh,
did
well,
not.
no. I mean, it was a
got
little
right-
snafu with the
Yeah, his
life
business
savings.
manager. Yeah, the life savings up in smoke. So you know.
Well, speaking
I
about
see.
life savings,
Wait. One last point about McGregor. Did you see the GIF where the guy showed, like, he was like, look how concerned he is for his teammate. And then they show McGregor just flying into the cage and shoving the referee. He never looks at his teammate that he's ostensibly so concerned about. It was heartwarming. Anyway.
Yep.
man,
Well, he's kind of a heartwarming guy. You know, I mean, I don't
He is.
know of any guys with $135 million that are more sensitive than he is.
It's true. You know what he's reminded me of? Do you remember Chuck Liddell right around the time he was nodding out on the Good Morning
Yeah,
Dallas
shoeless.
show?
We call him shoeless Chuck Liddell in his household.
Yes. I mean, and I recall some interviews and some different things where Chuck was basically like, banging different ladies just like a rotation. So I imagine McGregor is similarly well occupied and wholesome around this moment. Like, the opportunities are there, and that's all I'm saying.
Man, don't go breaking my heart, man.
Don't go breaking my heart.
I wouldn't if I tried.
So Nate,
that's old guy Jeopardy.
yeah. Just wait till we get to the accent part. You're Conor McGregor. For a boxing champ and pay-per-view draw, Oscar de la Hoya wants you in the ring, telling Dash Radio, I know I could take out Conor McGregor in 2 rounds. I'll come back for that fight, end quote. Sound like a better plan than Paulie or Ferg?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a great plan. Talk about the easiest money you can make for both of these guys. It's utterly irresistible. There's no bigger name Conor McGregor's going to be able to fight and have a chance to beat than 89-year-old Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, and likewise for De La Hoya. He's not coming back because he thinks this is a great sporting event. He's coming back because here's huge piles of money against a guy who visibly can't box. I'm still a pro boxer. I mean, De La Hoya, I'm sure, has lost many steps. And we saw how advanced into his dotage he was before he was put out to pasture. But once upon a time, he was a great boxer. And this is just, it's too much money to turn down. This is I asked my wife about this, asked my brother-in-law who knows nothing. They were both like, oh, yeah, I'd watch that fight. I mean, people who know nothing want to see this fight. So, and you know who has money? People who know nothing. Take it. Take it. Take the money. That's all I have to say.
What do you think, Eugene?
Yeah, I you know what? But this is, I have to say that this is, the dark and miserable thing that people were expecting to happen has actually fucking happened. Dude's not fucking coming.
What, the sign fell down? Your collar's out of joint? What?
Well, no, man.
I'm
I'm trying to avoid sitting in the cat piss, which is what I've been doing in the suit I just fucking cleaned. So, sorry. It wouldn't be. We don't know knuckle up this week. You didn't have the side falling, but no. I mean, this is exactly everything that you ever expected. That what's the worst that could happen? Dude makes a little bit of money. What's the worst? What? This is the worst. This is it. If you were a fan,
goes down the toilet, becomes a complete circus.
Yeah, if you were a fan of MMA, you said, I should get paid. Maybe he's got a chance against Mayweather. And you bought the Wolf ticket there to realize now that this is the worst thing that could happen. I mean, because and probably the guy who gave birth to that is Paulie. Paulie's like, I'll take him. And Oscar De La Hoya was sitting around at home going, what? Eh? Oh, shit. 130, 200. Hey, why not? Why the fuck not? Why not? You see Don King at that press conference? He's a doddering old fool. Aram's a doddering old fool. The bald one is in over his head. Golden Boy, why not? It's an easy payday. Win or lose, who gives a shit?
Well, the reason why I think it's such a no-brainer in so many different ways. One is during the Mayweather-McGregor fight, I was in Mexico. I was in Cuernavaca. And they had posters all over the place for McGregor Mayweather. All over the place, all right? So you talk about an international event, one. And two, You notice during the interview, Oscar De La Hoya said, "Oh, he's a big Irish man." So in terms of just the natural, I mean, Conor McGregor can just take the race baiting thing from Mayweather and just start in on Mexicans, Latinos, the Spanish culture. Just like it's just rinse, recycle,
Just get an
repeat.
old copy of Truly Tasteless Jokes. Switch from the
And there you go.
Yeah.
Your only chance. Your only
You
chance.
know that's what he's going to do. I mean, it's just like
Your
such a
only
basic
chance.
formula.
Only way to
You think
stop
so?
him right now, if the bald one is listening, only way to stop this cat is to rush and give him ownership stake, make him an owner, keep him on the farm. That's the only way, and that still might not work because $135 million more might be. You know what that is? Let's do the math. That is $270 million fucking dollars. Might be too hard to resist. And at that point, he could fuck up majorly. He could make himself persona non grata on the talk shows in Hollywood, all the shit that he likes down Rodeo Drive, whatever. It doesn't make a difference with $300 million in your back fucking pocket. It doesn't make a difference. There are people with less who've lasted longer in Ireland, which is where presumably he still makes his home. So, fuck.
And also a stake in Zuffa boxing. Hey, Conor, I'll give you 20. I'll give you some. I'm not going to give you. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you ownership stake. How about it? 75% Zuffa boxing and 3% UFC. How about that? You're going to be. I mean, come on, boxing.
And that still won't control it. And the terrible thing about it is the discombobulating effect it will have on the entire remainder of the MMA field. It's like, okay, shit. Is it just being a chatterbox? Can I pull it off? I mean, Colby Crappington hasn't stopped running his fucking mouth talking about John Jones and his fucking around. Why don't you go fuck women that aren't your wife? There are many, many, many for whom that crossed the line. I don't ever see.
He's not even married in the first place, is he?
Yeah,
Isn't that just his baby mama?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, yo, bro, man, unless you're a fucking priest, you need to glass houses, man, glass houses. So I don't want to get.
Now that's funny.
Yeah, exactly, right. Colby Crappington. So the reality of it is, you can't. I mean, who can talk sense to a guy with 135 mil, let alone 270 mil? This is a monster that you created. Everybody else is trying to figure out, how do I get to Red Penny Night? It's lightning. And you were there and you participated in it, and you're a passive participant or active participant. You were there, and it'll never happen again. Not to you or the likes of you. So you are stuck where? You're stuck in a backwater circus act. That's fucking your life. How's that taste?
Hey, if you're the bearded lady, it might taste pretty good.
Man. So let's go for a curveball then, since you brought up Mr. Covington. Eugene, you're John Jones. You're on the bench, minding your business. And out the blue, your former roommate, Colby Covington, puts you on blast, talking about how you were always a lying sinner, fronting like you're religious, but all about the drugs, all about different kinds of women, being dirty, just not dirty in the metaphorical sense, just not bathing, just being a nasty ass person to be with, and how you should just shut up and, like you said, just go cheat on your wife and go do drugs and all those things that we know that you're about, and stop being fake. How do you address the controversy, if at all?
Look, Hitler attacked Poland because he was on his way to Russia. You know who he did not attack? He didn't attack Switzerland. There's really no need, right? There's really no need. Johnny Boni Joni is Switzerland. If there's a strategic benefit to attacking Johnny Boni Joni, you let me know what it is, Colby Crappington, because I'm not seeing it. You know
what it is? It's SEO. The John Jones people pay attention to. Colby Covington is still in the who category.
Know what, man, there are lots of things he could do. He could put a potato in his butt and put a picture on Instagram, and that would work too. You know, there's good press and there's bad press, and people say, well, he really put Johnny Boney Joni in his place. Yeah, Johnny Boney Joni, as far as I'm concerned right now, is on the ground. You know, they don't allow kicking on the ground in MMA, right? You kick the guy on the ground. So if I'm Johnny Boney Joni, what I do is the same thing I do with impending street fights. I never want to get seen throwing the first punch, but I'll lean in close enough to the guy that I can whisper something only he can hear. And then I say the most foul, disgusting, outrageous stuff to just inflame the guy beyond all measure. Except if I'm Johnny Boney Joni, I do it in public, you know? It's like, and we're not held to any standard of truth. It's not a court of law. It's like, you know, I understand the whole repressed homosexuality thing that Colby's got going. I understand that he was upset with all the women I brought by the room. I'm sorry. Maybe you work out these issues on your own. I'm sorry. Did I mean to say I don't believe he is a homosexual, but the whole trans issue is causing him all this internal agita. No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that psychologically he's unseated. That's why he's attacking me. I mean, it could be it's either that or the heroin that I heard that he was selling to high school students. But who am I to say? I don't know what's going on in the small mind of Colby Crabbington. I just don't know.
How about you, Nate?
I think what John Jones needs to be focused on is his upcoming hearing with the commission. Everything else is bullshit right now. Like
uncivilized.
He doesn't need to lower himself to respond to Colby.
Anytime somebody says don't need to lower himself, I gotta extend a vote for people who very much clearly need to lower themselves. But
well, John Jones is very tall, and he doesn't need to sink Colby Covington's level, man. He needs to just focus on the fucking hearing and whatever line of bullshit he's got together to try to, you know, whatever he needs to do, bribing commissioners, whatever. Be focused on that. Because that's your whole career. Like, you're looking at the WWE or fighting in Japan or China if you don't fucking get this straight. So he doesn't need to mess with Colby Covington whatsoever.
Who's already in TNA wrestling or in whatever they call it now. So speaking of not needing to mess with stuff, Nate, you're Anderson Silva.
Oh, man.
You failed your second drug test since returning from a gruesome leg injury. With only one win in the UFC USADA drug testing era, is there anything you can do to protect your legacy?
Retire. Yep. It's hard to see how he would need the money because he made a decent amount of money. He had decent sponsorships, and supposedly the guy has a relatively wholesome home life and stable environment. Everything. You know, I mean, I haven't heard anything about Anderson gambling away his money or having 8 divorces or
pills,
any of that.
Man, remember?
Well, like, no, not this.
It's not normal. So you
got the pills. You're going in the right direction if you follow the pills, but okay.
I mean, I'm just saying he hasn't been spending a whole lot of money on his personal peccadillos. That's all.
And street overlord level stuff.
The fights he's taken.
I'm guaranteeing.
The fights he's taken aren't adding anything to his reputation or legacy. I don't think he needs the money that much. And the drug testing thing is clearly a very difficult hurdle for him to clear. Fuck it. Just quit. That's my advice to Anderson Silva. Stop it.
Yep. Man. Yep. I'm gonna have to line up behind Nate on that one. It's like you're not helping, you're hurting. You want to get on the other side of that equation. You want to help, not hurt, but help. You know, I mean, it's pretty fucking simple. Your head is gone, skills are gone, whatever you got. I mean, and GSP and Nick Diaz have said it best. You know, it's like, guess what I really love to do? I really love to train. You know, I as part of that training, I might even include sparring. But you know what I really hate to do? I hate to fight. I hate to, in other words, be training with a guy who's trying to fucking hurt me. I don't like making my money that way. Now, Anderson Silva was able to avoid the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune in the cage, but the reality of it is that guy is no longer that guy. So there's no shame in it. How long? Seriously, 5 more years were you going to do this? You're going to be like Ken Shamrock? I don't think so. I don't think there's any need for that. Rescue the legacy. Leave now, please.
But one thing that needs to be rescued, Kid Nate's heel turn.
It's very tough this week. There were 2 things. I'm just going to throw them both out there. Fucking Dana White is actually doing this UFC boxing thing, possibly in partnership with Al. I owe some people hundreds of millions of dollars, Heyman. So, like, this is like just a meeting of the minds of grifters and spenders of other people's money, and couldn't be any bigger a fiasco coming. I mean, Heyman tried to corner the market on boxing, borrowed tons of money, got all this venture capital, paid to be on TV on multiple channels with his own stable of fighters, never booking a fight he gave a shit. Maybe 3 times in the whole time he's been doing this, he's booked a fight anybody gave a shit about. And now he and Dana White, they loved each other so much from the Mayweather fiasco. Al Heyman, for those who don't know, is Mayweather's not manager but advisor. And it's just cray-cray. It's a ridiculous fiasco. It's something they're giving Dana to do to keep him interested, because he clearly doesn't give a shit about MMA anymore. And who else does after Dana has killed the sport? And then the other one, fucking Mark Ratner, testifying before Rep Mullen and the committee about the Muhammad Ali Act, just got pwned. I mean, looked like a complete jackass. I mean, Mullen annihilated Ratner. He kept asking, why on earth did Dan Henderson get a title shot? Well, it was a natural rivalry, blah, blah, blah. Well, why not have a non-title fight? I didn't have an answer for that. How come GSP gets a middleweight title shot? He's never even fought at middleweight in his life. How can this guy get a title shot? And you call yourself a sport? And Ratner's basically just sitting there taking his thumb out of his ass and putting it in his mouth, and vice versa, like he's a one-man frat party initiation. It's like just a pathetic display, and I felt bad for Ratner because he wasn't making these decisions he had to defend out there, but that's what he's getting paid to do, and it looks like the Muhammad Ali Act is coming. They're picking up more sponsors by the day. This is another reason why Dana White wants to get into boxing, because they don't enforce the Muhammad Ali Act in boxing. That's kind of the dirty little secret of the whole thing, but there you go. That's the hill.
But you know what? I'd like to add to that a little bit. And this is
always do.
No, but this is a good one, because this is what happens. I've seen this happen a million times before, and it's happening writ large with our fucking government. You're doing a great job, Brownie. Okay, you think the bald one's gonna hire?
Heck of a job.
Yeah, heck of a job, Brownie. You think the bald one's gonna hire fucking C-suite, corner office types who are like sharp guys, like sharper than him? These guys are driven by ego. They won't bring in stars that are bigger than they are, right? Not like Steve Jobs, who brought in a star who was as big as he could, the idiot from Pepsi, who then ended up ruining the company, kicking Steve out, a mistake he never made again, but also almost demolishing the fucking company. You pack it with yes men and stooges, and generally, if nobody calls you on it, you're okay. They got called on it. They got fucking called on it. And he's stuttering, buttering. And that was a very sharp fucking Mullen. And Ratner, who I've seen cage side at shows, like he's somebody. You got fucking schooled. And I'm shocked that it took this long for the rest of the world to figure out what I've known the whole time. You're an empty suit, bro. Empty suit. So whatever. Nate felt sorry for you. I did not.
Is he in the Lost Battalion?
Lost Battalion, it's hard for me to say this, and we've all seen it coming, but do I have anybody disputing the Pettis entry into the Lost Battalion?
Oh, man.
Anybody at all? Point. Okay, at this point. What the one saving grace is, as far as I could tell from the post-fight presser, he didn't say anything distinctly mystified. Like, when I get the belt back, he didn't say anything like that, but it is clear that whatever was in his head that made him not him will always be in his head, and he will no longer ever be him really again. So he is in the Lost Battalion. And it also pains me to say this, and we kind of foreshadowing in literary terms. We touched on it before, but Silva Anderson.
Yeah.
The fact that we're still talking about him is, I understand wanting to get back on a horse and shaking that shit off and whatever, but how is it possible that Chris Weidman is in the Lost Battalion and Andy is not in the Lost Battalion? He's in the Lost Battalion. This was driven home in a really definable way. Keep in mind, there are worse places to be in the cosmology. You could be fucking dark-starred. You could be on the event horizon. That is the most frightening place to be, as far as one of the commenters came up with it. He said, let's call it the event horizon. I go, what the fuck is that? He goes, it's when you have one more fight left before you know you're being put out to pasture.
Damn.
Dark Star, baby. You know it's coming, and you can't do a single thing to stop. That's a terrifying. That's like drowning. The one thing about drowning that makes it a miserable way to go is your consciousness of the fact that you're about to die. Right? You get electrocuted, boom, fast. You know, you get hit by a train, boom, fast. It's, you know, somebody shoots you, you go, oh my God, I've been shot, then I die. But you're just holding your breath when you're drowning. It's like, I got to get to the surface. I can't. My leg is stuck. I can't. And that's sad. Welcome to the event horizon. So being in the Lost Battalion comparatively is not bad, but I wouldn't want to be there. Well, or let me put it this way: I wouldn't want to be any deeper into the Lost Battalion than I have been since 1980.
Wow. Well, on that positive note, thank you, Eugene. Thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, Alexi Old at Kid Nate, Facebook MMA Punch Holes. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
There you go. You might want to read my piece at Ozzy about the time I got accused of being a rapist.
Oh, leave comments on YouTube, subscribe to MMANation.com, YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Buy Oxbow's Thin and Black Duke wherever fine music is sold. And immediately following the show, look below. What do they got to do, Eugene?
They got to log out. Well, we log out. But you have to go to the link below, and in 3 minutes' time, we will be there doing If the Shoes Fit. You understand? It's a two-step. You do this,
that's right.
And then you all go to If the Shoes Fit right now, like 3 minutes from now. Well, I mean, after we stop talking. Well, after I stop talking.
We'll be back next week in the Northern Song if I did it. We don't know what we talk about yet, or what show it is, Eugene, because of PR mistakes. Haven't finished, but others have yet to be made.